And would the children like to come to the front, please? Yeah, a little thin on the ground this morning. Oh well. Okay, so it's good to see you because I was here on Christmas Eve and I actually haven't been here in worship since then. Some of you might have been here since then, or you might not have. But it's good to be back and it's good to see you. Now, if you can remember back to Christmas, it seems like a long time ago now. Do you remember some of the presents you got for Christmas? You haven't broken any of them, no. No. Do you remember what you got for Christmas? Yeah? What were some of the things you got? Remember any? Oh, new clothes from Regina, yeah? Yeah?
I got a sewing machine.
You got a sewing machine? Like a real deal sewing machine? Holy cow. Have you used it since then?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think?
I really like it.
You really like it? Wow, that's great. I'm in a bit of awe over people who can use sewing machines. I can use a needle. That's kind of my level of dexterity. But yeah, that's awesome. You'll be able to use that like in your life, like for lots of different things. That's awesome. Do you remember what you got? Books, yeah. Board games, yeah. Those are awesome. Well, I want to share with you something that I got for Christmas. Do you know what this is? Yeah, it's a little hard to say, isn't it? It's kind of like a bobblehead, but it's not the head that shakes. It's the upper half of a body. So what it is, it came in a box that said Dancing Jesus. And so there's a bottom half of Jesus wearing sandals and a white robe, and then there's a spring, and then there's a top half of Jesus, and he's kind of going like that, and then when you shake him, he kind of goes like that, so it's like he's dancing. So I think it's kind of funny and kind of fun. So, but I want to ask you a question. Do you think Jesus ever danced? You have to use your imagination, of course. It doesn't say in the Bible whether Jesus danced or not. Do you think so? Yeah? Maybe? Hard to say, isn't it? Yeah. Well, I like to think that Jesus did dance. The whole point was that God sent Jesus down so that not only so that Jesus could show us what it was to be loved by God in person, but so that God could learn about what it's like being a person as well. So Jesus lived a whole human life and lived all of our experiences, being born and going to school and working and, I don't know, eating and having to eat things that your parents want you to eat and you don't want to eat, and all the experiences of life Jesus experienced, so that God would know what it's like to be a human being, so God could love us better. And so if Jesus really had to experience all the things of life, and so it wouldn't be right if Jesus never danced so that God would never know what it's like to dance. So I like to think that Jesus did dance, and even though a lot of the things that Jesus says in the Bible are pretty serious things, or more serious things, there are some times when Jesus is kind of making a joke. I think it's kind of funny, you know. He says to this guy Nicodemus, "Oh, you have to be born again to know God," and the guy's like, "My mom wouldn't like it if I was born again. That would not work." And Jesus is like, no. I was just teasing you, you know. So I like to think that Jesus had a sense of humor and that he danced, and because it seems to me that God has a sense of humor with us too. God sometimes, you know, teases us in our lives, but God always loves us. And I know that for my parents, if they didn't tease me, I know that they didn't really love me because they always like to have fun with me too.